Hello everyone, it's your girl Asia from the Roman Reigns Fangirl channel, and I am back with another video. It's going to be about The Sopranos. Yes, I am really excited to make this video because since the moment I've watched the show and since the moment I finished the show, this is one of the top videos I wanted to make about this certain character. Today's video is no other of me talking about Aj Sopranos. The defense of Aj Soprano. That's right. I'm going to defend my man. Because watching The Sopranos, Aj, Christopher were like my favorite characters. Hands down. I mean, I liked it Tony too. I would say I liked Tony's character up until season 5. His character in season 6, I was kind of over it. And I'm only saying that because I feel like they had the chance to make him change. Instead, they just made him go back into his old ways. And I feel like if that was the point, there was no need to make a season 6. That's just how I feel. What was the point of making a season 6 and having him get shot if he wasn't going to change his ways? Instead, he's doing the same shit he's been doing since the show premiered. So what's really the point? I just don't get it. None of it makes sense to me. None of it. And I will only say post season 6 because season 6, James Gandolfini looked like he was really over it. Like he looked like he was ready to wrap the show up. Like, you could literally see that in the show, too. Like, he did not hide it. Like, I know I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I'm going to talk about all of this when I make my season 6 rant on The Sopranos and why I think it's the absolute worst season of the show. I feel like he was just really over it. Like, Tony's character from season 6 wasn't the same character. His best representation of his character is hands down season 1 because it was the introduction of his character, and it was the best written. Me, personally, I feel like once they stopped having him stop dealing with his depression and his panic attacks, it was like, okay, so what really makes his character that interesting if you take away the two things that made his character interesting to begin with, right? His depression and his panic attacks were the main two things that pulled you into his character because he's dealing with mental health as a man and he's dealing with panic attacks, something that's hereditary, something that is passed down through his family. Once you take away the depression and the panic attacks, what makes his character all that interesting? In season 6, you saw that. He was not interesting at all. He didn't do anything. Like I said, he was doing the same old shit he was doing in the beginning, and that's just lying, cheating. I mean, that's cool or whatever, but it's like we seen that the entire show. Do something else. So I just feel like once they took that away from Tony's character, he just not really becoming interesting to me. Like season 5 to me is probably the last. Yeah, season 5 to me was the last time his character was really that interesting on screen. Cause season 6, man, they had no clue what the fuck they were doing at all. Everybody, now let's get into AJ's character. Yeah, I'm ready now. I'm so fucking ready. Everybody try to act like in season 6 of The Sopranos that Tony's character carried that season. Fuck no. His character did not carry that season. The only good storyline in that season was AJ's depression storyline. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That was the only good storyline in that season. Other than his storyline in season 6, what the fuck really made you care about that season? Nothing was going on. Season 6 was so fucking boring. It had some of the most boring episodes ever. Like, other than AJ's depression storyline and Christopher doing drugs again, what really was that? What really was so good about The Sopranos? There's only a few good episodes in that season. Period. And it's really not a lot. Just a few. That's it. Just a few. The first half of season 6 is so goddamn boring. Oh my heavens, there's really nothing to really look forward to. The first half, the only good episodes are the first three, where they show Tony getting shot, and then showing him in the dream world what it would be like if he was living life as a normal person and not a mobster. I liked those episodes. When he woke up, bored the hell out of me. The first half don't get interesting again up until episode 8, where AJ tried to kill Uncle Junior. Like really, and in the second half, AJ carried that whole second half on his back. They gave him that oppression storyline, and he acted his ass off. Period. They gave him that depression storyline, and he acted his ass off. I mean it. Like, he did such a great job. Me personally, this video is called "The Defense of AJ." I just want to talk about his character because I really realized, like, in the fandom of The Sopranos, like, if you go on Reddit, his character get so much hate. And to me, I think it's a little ridiculous because I think people aren't really looking at his character with a third eye. They just see a spoiled kid who is spoiled, a spoiled brat, or whatever the case may be, whatever the fuck y'all think it is. Me personally, I look at AJ's character with a third eye because I feel like in season 1 and 2 they were doing really good things with his character, and then season 1, 2, and 3, and then season 4 and 5 his character kind of took a back seat. Like, he didn't really do as much. Season 4 he was dating a girl, he was dating someone, he didn't get the much screen time. Season 5 is the same thing. He didn't do anything except for, showing his relationship with Carmilla, which I will discuss. I really want to discuss that. But in season 1, I really like that they really would. I really like how they would, kind of compare AJ to Tony. Like, basically saying he got a lot of Tony's bad traits, and Tony didn't want him to turn out to be like him, which is kind of funny, which is like really amazing and great storytelling, because it's crazy that they mention that, and in season 6 AJ gets depressed, which is something that is hereditary, right? He has some of his father's bad habits, like, hanging out with his homeboys, cutting class, smoking cigarettes, or breaking into school after hours. So AJ had, like, storylines that you really could see that his character was going to be something really great. If it was up to me, they could have just had one kid. There was no need for them to have a second child because Meadow was boring as fuck. She was just a brainiac, and all she did was date, which to me, that isn't all that interesting to me. So I was really glad when they picked his character to be the sibling that outshined, because it just makes sense. If there's one storyline with AJ I wish they would have done more, is with his ADHD storyline. I feel like they kind of dropped that. I feel like that was just something they wrote in the first season and it was just kind of over with. But AJ's character has been really good since the first season. I get it. He was a kid, so they didn't want to give him the most screen time. But I feel like once he got older, I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased, but I feel like AJ kind of reminded me of me a little bit. And I always said that when I watched the show, when I watched it, and sometimes when I would just put on the episode. He kind of reminded me of me because you can't tell your kid you want them to have an open mind and you want them to express their feelings to you, but then when they do it, you call them disrespectful because of how they express their feelings. So why raise your child to be open-minded and to open their mouth if something is bothering them? And if you're the one that's causing them to have an issue, why can't they address you? I just don't get it. If they're coming at you respectfully, why are you looking at it as disrespect? Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the disrespect that AJ showed his parents was right, but that's how they raised him. They didn't raise him with respect. He was a spoiled brat, right? They gave him too much. So it always just kind of blew my fucking mind when the fans would say, oh, he a spoiled brat, this and that other shit. Like, people always bring up how he got mad at Tony for giving him a job and he didn't want to take it because the job was outside and it's too cold. And I was just like, you're asking a kid who is rich, who his entire life he has had shit handed to him. You're asking him to get a job. You're asking him to work. He don't know a damn thing about working. Tony and Carmilla don't work. Carmilla doesn't work. She lives off the finances of Tony. And Tony, he has organized crimes. The shit that he do is illegal. That's illegal money. That's dirty money. The fuck? He isn't working. So you're asking a kid who grew up in a very stability lifestyle of money, rich, and fame to work, to get a job. I get it. They wanted him to do something different. Instead of just laying around and being one of those ordinary rich kids, they wanted him to get out there in the world and actually see what working your ass off look like. I get it. Him working a 9 to 5. But my thing is what AJ, which I think people were forgetting, was not getting, is that you're asking a rich kid to work a 9 to 5 when you could just give him the money. Y'all acting like if y'all was in his position, y'all wouldn't have done the same thing. Y'all kill me. Like, y'all really irritate the fuck out of me. If I was in AJ's position, I would have done the same thing. You want me to work a 9 to 5 when you could just give me the money? Like, do we not have it? Are we broke? How do you expect him not to be a spoiled brat if he was just always born around money and rich and fame? Of course he's going to turn out that way. Carmilla and Tony were horrible parents. They were terrible parents. They were horrible parents because if they... Okay, I get it. There's nothing wrong with wanting better for your children, but I feel like sometimes you need to learn how to draw the line. That is why it makes sense for your kids to have to earn shit. Because if you give them, and once you want them to earn it, they're going to look at you crazy because it's like, what? I never had to earn shit to get a present. You always just bought me a gift. Now you want me to earn it? What the fuck? Don't even make sense. I just feel like Tony and Carmilla were horrible parents because they always try to make it seem like, oh, he was just born that way, when it's like, no, y'all made him that way because y'all were horrible parents. Y'all made him entitled to money and rich and fame instead of him work his ass off. The second that nigga turned 16, his ass should have been getting a job so he could really know what working really seems like. But then, in the one episode in season 5, when he was on the phone talking about the parties that he would host and pay people to get in, Carmilla was talking about, you're not going to like working at a McDonald's. You're not going to like working a 9 to 5. So she's putting this nigga down for not... She's actually telling him, you're not going to want to work a 9 to 5 because 9 to 5s are disgusting. If you work a 9 to 5, you ain't shit. But then Tony is trying to give him a job to work a 9 to 5. Make it make sense. That's condescending. They make no sense. They're horrible parents. They are horrible parents. Tony was a terrible father to AJ. Terrible. He was a horrible father. Like, if you wanted better for your son, you should have put that work in to make him better. Instead, Tony always tried to blame Carmilla for being the reason why AJ turned out to be the way he is, when in reality, it's both their faults why he turned out the way he was. Like, they should have just been more hands-on when it came to him. Like, sometimes they let shit slide, or they just didn't care that much. Like, I don't think he suffered any punishment when they caught him smoking weed. No, he didn't suffer any punishment. They just put him in his room. That is something they should have talked to him about. Like, where did you get the weed? How were you in middle school? Where did you get your hands on some weed? They didn't tell him. Instead, Carmilla called him an animal because he smoked some weed. Are you kidding me? It's weed. They act like this nigga was popping pills or doing heroin. My nigga was just smoking a joint. I mean, yeah, I get it. He's in middle school. He shouldn't be smoking weed, but damn, that's just what he was doing. Smoking weed. Like, they act like it was such a big deal. Like, I'd rather him smoke some weed than have him drinking some wine at his school. Because, yeah, in season 1, him and his friends, they drank some wine and got drunk, and that's what caused him to get in trouble. In season 2, he got caught smoking weed. In season 2, he stole Carmilla's car and drove him and his friends to school. So, AJ was bad as fuck. I will say that. He was bad. That nigga was bad as fuck. Like, he was bad as fuck. But I don't think it had anything to do with him getting attention. It was just the fact that he was just a kid. I just think he was a kid. He was a kid getting into kid activities, living life as a child. And I honestly feel like some of the shit that he did do was because he didn't have a social life. Like, okay, AJ was not good at school, right? So, to me, it kind of always bothered me or pissed me off when Carmilla would force him to do the one thing he hated. He was not good at school. It didn't matter how much he studied, how much he put into a test. He always got a bad grade. So school just wasn't for him. And like I said, I see myself in AJ a lot because I was like that in school. It doesn't matter how much I study or how much I put much effort into a test. I just never got a good grade. So I kind of just said, fuck school, right? And focus on the things that I was really good at. Focus on things that was my passion. So me personally, I feel like the reason why AJ was the way he was a little bit was because they didn't have him have a social life. Carmela wanted that boy's whole life to just be about school, coming home, and that was it. And then she was shit on Tony because he was more like, I'm give him a break parent, while she was more like a goddamn drill sergeant. Maybe if she gave him much more of a break, maybe he would like her a little bit more. And it's kind of crazy saying that towards your mother, but it's like, me personally, if I was AJ, yes, I would move in with the parent who doesn't give a fuck because I know this parent is going to give me a break. But he moved back in with Carmela because I don't want to get punched or abused by my father if I say something. The fuck? So I'm going to move back in with the parent who do care a little bit more. But damn, give me a break sometimes. Make me go hang out with my friends. Let me live life a bit. Let me have some fun. You feel me? Carmela did not let AJ live life. That is why he had to sneak out of the house. That's why he had to lie and all this other shit. If she just would have let him live life a little bit, he would not have to do those things. But she kept this nigga on lockdown. Prison, lockdown when her and Tony separated. It was just like, why can't he go out? Why can't he spend the night at the hotel with his friends? What's the problem? Why can't he do that? Why can't he go here? Why can't he go there? What's the problem? He's a kid. Let him live life. He's not going to be living in your home forever. Let him live life. Let him socialize. Like, goddamn. And it is like, once you forbid him, once you stop, because to me personally, that's like stunning his growth if you don't allow him to socialize, if you don't allow him to make connections and go out there and experience the world. Because then you stunt his growth, because then when he do go out there, people going to say, there's no point. There's no point in me making connections. There's no point in me being social. Because my parents kind of said there's no need to. There's no need to experience the world because y'all kept me locked up like a motherfucking prisoner. I don't think Carmela was a bad mother. I think I just think sometimes she tried to, I really feel like she hated AJ. I really felt like that. I really feel like she hated him because if you watch their scenes the way you watched them in season 5, I really feel like she hated him. And I think it's because at the end of season 4, I feel like Tony manipulated AJ into thinking it was Carmela's fault why they got a divorce. Because in season 4, if y'all listen clearly in the one episode, Whitecaps, AJ said, why do I have to be stuck with her? You know, basically telling Tony, like, you were able to get away, so why I gotta be stuck with her? Because, you know, Tony manipulated AJ into thinking, oh, your mother kicked me out. She wanted me out, and she didn't give me a reason, so why she put me out. So basically, he's manipulated his son into thinking, oh, mom just kicked you out, so now I gotta be stuck with her. Like, Tony wasn't shit for doing that. So I feel like when you watch season 5, I think AJ was kind of like, which is any kid. No kid wants to see their parents get a divorce and don't want to have to balance having to go here for the weekends and then coming here. You know, it's just not, I don't think it's right because in a divorce, it's kind of selfish. You don't ask your kids what they want. Their kids, no kid want to see their parents get a divorce. They want to see them work it out. Because at the end of the day, it's selfish to get a divorce and not think how your kids feel. And I feel like, and that's why I said I feel like Tony manipulated AJ. Because I feel like Tony manipulated AJ in season 5, that could be the reason why Tony was gifting him presents. Because you could see Carmela cared more about AJ's education and him graduating. Which as a mother, I totally get it. She wanted her son to succeed. She wanted him to do more with life. She wanted to see him grow and wanted to see him become something. So I get that aspect because as a mother, that's what you're supposed to do. You should want more for your children. But I think Carmela lacked listening. She lacked listening and hearing because when AJ moved back in with her, she was like, she wanted him to let her into her life a little bit. And I'm thinking, like, what life? What life does that kid have other than going to school and coming home? He don't have no fucking life. What friends did AJ hang out with? Once he got older, he didn't have no friends. Not like how he did when he was in middle school. And if y'all counting the niggas he was hanging out with in season 6, them not his friends. Those are just niggas that were his age that he went to middle school with, and he stopped talking to them. Like, what life did he really have? And I feel like, had she let that nigga live life a little bit, maybe he would have let her into his life. But I honestly feel like Carmela hated AJ because, like I just said, Tony manipulated AJ into thinking it was Carmela's fault to why they were separated. That is why he was giving him gifts. A manipulation tactic. I cannot talk. A manipulation tactic, you know, giving him a new car, taking him to concerts, giving him drums. Basically, you know, to tell him, I didn't want to separate. Your mother wanted it. So because of that, I got to give you presents from my house and you got to take them home. Pretty much, right? Because Carmela wasn't going to get that nigga no car. She wasn't going to take him to no concert. She damn sure wasn't going to let him go to no concert. She wasn't going to let him do this. She wasn't going to let him do that. One thing I can say about Tony's parenting that I did like is that he did not coddle his children, which I think is really good. He let them live their lives and wanted them to do more. You feel me? Carmela wanted to coddle her children. She wanted to stop them from growing up. And that shit is irritating because as a parent, you can't stop your child from growing up. No matter how much you want to, you can't. You're not going to be able to. So to me, that's one thing I could say I really liked about Tony is that he allowed AJ and Meadow to grow up. He allowed them to do what they wanted to do because it's life. They're going to have to get used to this shit anyway. Why coddle them? Why do it? I understand kids need to feel safe. Kids need to feel protection. Kids need to feel love. I get that. You can do that without having to coddle them. Because if you coddle them, you stunt their growth. They become codependent. And then you want them to have to what? Call you for everything? Hold your hand when it comes to everything? No, you should not want that. You should want your child to become independent. They could still need you, but it shouldn't be codependency. And I feel like that's what Carmela wanted for her children. Because I'll never forget when she got mad at Meadow for wanting to take a gap year from college and she wanted to go to Europe. Why can't she travel and see the world? And then it's like, it's not like her ex-boyfriend didn't just die. So to me, she probably wanted to break from school, which I definitely understand. The only reason why I can see why she get mad is because they're paying for her college. Okay, and tell that girl to get a job and start paying for her own college. That's what the fuck I would have done. You mean all that money I'm putting into that school? You want to take a gap year? Man, I would tell her, once you come back from Europe, get your ass a job and you can start paying for your own bills for college. That's what I would have done. Because that is teaching your kids something. That's teaching them don't take shit for granted. Which I don't think Meadow was taking anything for granted. I just feel like she wanted to travel the world. Which I feel like shouldn't have been such a big deal. But Carmela made it a big deal. Just irritating. Like, Carmela made a big deal about this nigga AJ going to the hotel with his friends. Talking about, I'm not your kids' mother. I'm not just going to let you go on by yourself. And he said, lucky for them. Yes, AJ was very disrespectful, but you know, it's like, it's because it's a kid thing, right? I don't get my way, so it's like, fuck you. I was the same way as a kid. If it ain't my way, fuck you. Simple as that. But I just feel like, why couldn't he go to the hotel? It's not like he was gonna be there by himself. Like he said, the kids and the mother was going to be there, so why the fuck could he not go? There was no reason for him not to go. No reason at all. And then, yes, he forgot to tell her that he made it to the hotel, but like he told her, she didn't allow him to talk. He kind of came into the house and she was very worried, and she called him a liar, and that's when he called her a bitch. You know, like, yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. AJ was very disrespectful, but I think it's because Carmela hated him, and I definitely feel like he felt that, because as you just said, they're trying to make it seem like he was a mama's boy. I'm thinking, like, when the fuck was AJ ever a mama's boy? Because if y'all watching the same show I watched, he was very disrespectful to Carmilla, and Carmilla seemed like she hated him. She was very mean to AJ. She kind of always put him down, and she kind of always wanted him to be the child that she wanted him to be. She never really accepted him for who he was, and I feel like, to me, that could be a reason for his disrespectfulness. Like, in season 3, and this will always be one of the main, no, fuck that. Season 2, and this is what I say. Carmilla, she wasn't a bad mother. She did want Tony to be more involved when it came to the children. Like, when a swim meet shit happened in season 2, Tony wasn't there. And he's so petty. The reason why he didn't go is because AJ wanted to go hang out with his friends and didn't want to go to him with the movies. I feel like that's petty. Like, Tony, you are a grown-ass man. Why are you holding a grudge because your son didn't want to hang out with you? Like, nigga, we'll go to the movies some other time. I already made plans to hang out with my homeboys. Why did you make it such a big deal? Like, Tony was so petty. Tony was a really bad parent. Like, to me, he was so mean to AJ. I hated that shit. I hated how he would physically threaten him. I hate when he would put his hands on him. I hated the way he would talk to him and put him down. Like, when he was like to Carmilla, talk about she wanted him to get a vasectomy, but AJ is his male heir. I was thinking, like, whoa, why the fuck would you say that to your child, let alone you say it right in fucking front of him? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I will never forget in season 3 when AJ got expelled from school and Tony was, expressing how much shit he do for the family, and then he got to come home and hear that his son is expelled, and AJ said, sucks to be you, which is definitely something I would have said, because it's like, really, come on now, enough, because there was no need for him to go to no fucking private school. He could have went easy to a public school where you don't have to pay nothing a month. Y'all just doing too much. It's just like, seriously. And then he tried to ship his son off to the army so he won't have to deal with the real issue. That is really some bad parenting. But then everybody tried to sit here and make it seem like that AJ was the problem. Why? Because of how he reacted to shit. The one thing I would give AJ is that he was very disrespectful. And that he was in a lot of drama. He was very bad. He was bad as fuck. Yes, he did get into a lot of chaos. He was very disrespectful to Tony and Carmilla. I would get y'all that. And I'm not saying that shit was cool, but I understand why he is the way he is. He is picking up their bad habits. The apple don't fall that far from the tree. And when I say that is that when I say the apple don't fall that far from the tree, doesn't mean necessarily you have to be exactly like your parents. But people act like you're not going to pick up bad traits from your parents, which you are going to pick up bad traits. So I don't understand why everyone can't see that AJ really was a kid going through a lot of shit. For real. Everybody want to just make it seem like he was just a spoiled brat and he was very unappreciative and things like that. But it's like, y'all seem to not understand that Carmilla and Tony made him that way. They made him that way. And that's why it always pisses me off when Tony try to ship him off to the army instead of trying to deal with the real problem. And I feel like they never really went to... I never really feel like they went... In another storyline, I feel like they kind of just abandoned when AJ had panic attacks. Because they showed it once in season 3 when he started doing football. They showed it once that he had a panic attack. And then the idea of him going to the army and getting into war and things like that, he had a panic attack. So I feel like they only did that. That storyline was kind of abandoned. I feel like maybe they didn't have to go too in deep with it because it was just showing, he got the Tony fucking curse, the Soprano bad gene, as he liked to call it. I just feel like I wish that was something they would have went into depth with. But it always pissed me off that Tony tried to ship him off to the army because he didn't want to deal with him. Like I said, there were aspects where Carmilla definitely was a good mother and definitely was a better parent. Like in the argument with Tony, she made really good points. He's a kid. He's a child. I'm not sending my kids to no army. You got me fucked up. I don't want my kid in no war. I'm not. You got me fucked up if you think I'm going to wait. If you think I'm going to get a call in the midnight saying my son died in the war. I'm not sending my kid away. I'm not doing it. Fuck you. I'm not doing it. It ain't happening. I feel like Tony was just a really bad parent. I feel like him and Carmilla, I feel like when they try to parent together, they're bad parents. But Tony was definitely a bad parent. Like I said, Carmilla was a good mother. when it came to certain shit. Other than that, I definitely do feel like deep down she hated AJ because he reminded her of a lot of things of his father that she did not like. And I definitely feel like Carmilla and Tony played favorites when it came to AJ and Meadow. Cause like I said, they would let Meadow get away with so much shit, and they would punish AJ for the same shit he probably would have done. Like when Meadow had a party in season 2, she suffered no punishment. All they did was take away her credit card. But this nigga AJ Rexington's school, this nigga gotta clean up. What? You mean all she get taken away is a credit card and I gotta clean? That shit ain't fair. I didn't feel like when it came to parenting, AJ and Meadow, they definitely played favorites, and that's only because Meadow went to school, she got good grades, she graduated, and all the other bullshit. She didn't flunk out when it came to college. Bro, I will never forget in season 6 when Carmilla got pissed at AJ because they took out of context what he said on the news, and she barged into his room and said he ain't, man, I can't remember exactly what she said, but I do know she said he's like a burden to everyone. And I was just thinking like, yo, I was so pissed because it's like, girl, you need to relax. Why is you coming in here going so hard at him like that when he just told you they took that shit out of context? I get it. You told him not to talk to the press, but it's not like he said anything. They took what he said out of context. That ain't even what he said. Carmilla blew me. I did feel like she hated AJ. And I hate all the hate that his character gets, because I definitely don't. I feel like he is really not a bad character. He's like the second best character on The Sopranos after. No. He's like the third best character after Christopher. Like, it go Tony, Christopher, and AJ. Them like the only characters in the show who get any character development, who get the most interesting storylines, who get anything that's like remotely interesting for you to pay attention to. Like, AJ is one of the best written kid characters in TV. Period. And like I said, he went through all that shit, and at the end of the show, my nigga was making movies. So fuck all of that. To all the people who thought he wasn't gonna be shit, he shut y'all up real quick. I just feel like AJ isn't really a bad character, and I feel like if y'all forget about all the kiddie shit that he did as a kid, that we all do, and open up your third eye, you really could see it was really a kid reaching out for help. And that's just how I feel, because like I said, his depression storyline carried season 6. He did such a good job with his depression storyline in season 6. It was by far the best fucking storyline in that season. And I feel like what he said in the therapy session with Carmilla and Tony, it's about fucking time that he said it, because I feel like both of them suck when it comes to listening. Yet again, in this therapy room, they're trying to make it all about them when he's trying to express how the fuck he feel. I'm irritated. I was really over it. And then Carmilla tried to act like she don't remember none of the shit that she said to her son when she put him down. And then Tony is calling him names. It's like, why talk to them when they both suck at listening? Why do you think their marriage suck? Because they suck at listening to each other. They don't know how to communicate to each other, which makes them don't know how to communicate to their child. Simple as that. So, all the chaos, or whatever y'all want to call it, when it comes to AJ doing bad shit, is because Carmilla and Tony were bad parents. They were bad parents. They did not know how to parent AJ when it comes to being a unit. When it came to being a unit and parenting him, they absolutely sucked. Like I said, Tony was a horrible parent. He was a horrible parent to AJ, but a good parent to Meadow. Carmilla was a good parent sometimes when it came to AJ, but she really was a good parent to Meadow. They loved Meadow more and treated AJ like shit, and I said what I said, and then y'all wonder why he turned out the way he did. Miss me with all that shit. Like I said, I would defend AJ Soprano to the end of time, because he ain't really all that bad. Y'all try to make it seem like he's just the worst and he just this spoiled brat, but it's like, if y'all really watch the show like I was watching it, he had every right to say what the fuck he say, to be disrespectful, because look how the fuck they treated him. Like I said, they would let Meadow get away with murder, but punish this nigga for doing what he do. That's silly. It's the smallest shit, and they would punish him for it. Y'all gotta go the fuck out of here. Anyway, that's my video for today. I'm gonna catch y'all on my next video. Peace.